Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm going to have a go at something today that I haven't ever done before, so fingers crossed it's going to go okay. I feel a little bit nervous about it, but I'm going to give it a go. So I've watched other people do their what they call process videos, so I'm going to attempt to kind of do that. So I'm just going to make a couple of items really that I'm intending to put in one of my kits. So I'm not going to make an entire kit because I might be here for quite a long time. I'm just going to try and make a few items. So let's go. So I move my tools that I brought along out of the way. I'm using my son's desk again. So I've had to bring kind of everything I think I'm going to be likely to use to his desk. So fingers crossed I've got everything here and organised. Again, I apologise for my messy glass work surface protector. But obviously, you know, I need to kind of protect his desk, and I've had to use it messy side up because again I've got the lamp on to save the glare. So this particular kit that I'm going to be kind of compiling some elements for, I'm going to use these couple of Ladybird books. I don't know whether you have these kind of in other parts of the world, but we have these over here in the UK. So I was lucky enough to kind of pick some up from the charity shop. The unfortunate thing is some of the pages have been scribbled on, so I have my rubber here to rub out the scribble. Unfortunately, I did try this yesterday, and in some of the places where you then rub out, it does actually kind of rub out the colour of the pictures, if you see what I mean. It just kind of makes it fade slightly. So if I just kind of show you here, I mean, I guess probably the ideal thing to do would be then rub across the whole page, but it doesn't seem to then necessarily come evenly. So if I just show you, you can kind of see just where it's slightly faded now, where I've rubbed that out, but never mind, better than the scribble. So these are the two books that I'm going to use a few images from for the kit. So I'm going to put them to one side. And then I'm also going to be using the text from these children's encyclopedias, which I was lucky enough to pick up a whole set of these. I think there were 4 books, or could have been 5 or even 6 actually, for £10 at my local charity shop. They're absolutely huge, so obviously got loads of bits and bobs in them, and hopefully if I get time I'm going to do another video later on today with a kit that I've made using images from this book, but I have just torn out a couple of text kind of pages to use here for this process video. So I shall move that out of the way as well, so bear with me please, you know, if I'm a little bit kind of scatty and disorganised. Right, so what I thought we'd do, I have made some, basically what I would use as kind of pockets or something on the page of a journal. So basically I took text pages earlier before I got started. So in Blue Peter speak, here's some I did earlier. Just layered them up, basically a few pages to make them kind of thicker and more robust for a journal. And then I stitched around on the sewing machine. I've obviously spared you all this because it's a bit time consuming and pretty boring to watch, but I mean, it's nothing, you know, amazing. It's just literally I've stitched around and then just cut roughly around the edges. So that's that one. So we'll get started for the first one, really. So this, as I say, would be kind of a pocket. I think I did bring along a blank kind of journal to kind of show you how it would be kind of used, but typical, you know, you can never be organised enough, can you? I haven't got that actually physically out of the bag, so now I'm going to have to rummage to try and get that out. But then obviously once I have that out, I can then be showing you the types of things. Now obviously this is a kit that I'm intending to sell. It is not intended to go into this journal, but this is a journal that I have ready for making. So basically, just to kind of show you, give you an idea, this would obviously glue down onto a page like that. So that's that. So I then fussy cut this image from one of these Ladybird books. So just literally kind of flicked through, found an image that I really rather liked, and I've just fussy cut it out. So what I thought that I would do here is actually just glue it onto here and then literally trim off the edge. I don't think I want to have anything behind it. I did bring along some doilies. I've got these nicely bright coloured doilies, which I thought would go nice with these kids book images because they're rather fun. So, I mean, maybe these blue ones would actually look quite nice. I will just try. It's quite odd because when I go through a journal or showing something for my Etsy shop, I'm kind of rushing through. And I guess the purpose of the process videos is to do things in slower time. So I must kind of remember that and try and actually slow down rather than trying to kind of rush through like a normal, you know, video. So that's kind of it with the doily. That's it without the doily. Actually, I do think it's rather nice with. So what I'm going to do, I'll get my glue, say that I have everything organised, and now this is where it lets me down. Right. So basically, I'm going to take my doily and I'm going to just glue it on. So what I will do is glue it kind of roughly where I think. And then, should I obviously need to up my game and kind of glue it further, then I will do in a moment. So I'm just going to glue that down like that onto that page pocket. There we go. And then I'm going to take my image from the book. So I want that roughly kind of here, and then I'm going to kind of mark it just with my nail here so I kind of know roughly where to kind of glue to. And I'm just going to glue that down like this. There we go. So I'm just going to put that down here. Oops. When I watched my tutorial, I didn't used to watch my videos back at all because I couldn't stand listening to my own voice. But actually, kind of, I've realised my mistake and that sometimes you do kind of have to check a little bit because, you know, to make sure they're okay, and I guess with the volume up. So I have kind of had to start doing that a bit, which, you know, is not the nicest experience really, listening to yourself, but I can't remember where I was going with that. Anyway, I can't remember now what I was going to say for that. So again, my mind's gone completely blank. It's quite a different experience doing these videos because you're kind of trying to talk, trying to do, trying to concentrate, trying to think, and it's kind of all a little bit random. So right, I saw someone do this on YouTube, so I've just got an old credit card here and I just literally spread the glue out with the card. Brilliant tip, and I don't know why I hadn't thought of it before because it's pretty straightforward, but yeah, very handy. So now that's my pocket. I'm just going to trim off this bit from the edge like that. And then I didn't bring a bag or anything to put my rubbish in, so I'll have to clear up my son's room after I finish. So that's kind of the basis of my pocket. Now I've brought along some other little bits and bobs to kind of play around with and see what I like. So I've got these Mulberry paper flowers that I had ordered a long time ago, used them really heavily in my mini albums, but obviously they are quite bulky. So what I have been doing of late is actually peeling them away like this and peeling the layers open, and then obviously you then have, and just typical kind of on the film, it's not gone quite as planned, and the stalk came off, so now I no longer have a stalk to hold for the rest of the layers. But anyway, and you can just kind of peel them off, and I mean, because, and I've said this before, I'm not the most delicate of people and I'm quite clumsy. I seem to only be able to get the first few layers off, and then I have to obviously throw the rest of the flower away. I'm sure some of you are a lot more delicate and careful than me and would be able to kind of keep going and get more and more layers, but I kind of find, well, 3 layers is good enough. So I then can no longer get these without kind of tearing them. So hopefully you could kind of see that, what I was doing there. So just really giving you kind of a little bit of a boring insight there into some flowers. So that's that. So, I mean, they go quite nicely with this, you know, with these book images. So I thought I might use one of those little flowers there. I also yesterday stitched on the sewing machine some sewing paper pattern. So I could put that onto my pocket. I rather like that. So I could actually pop that there with the flower on it. So I think that looks quite nice. And I've also obviously brought along my distress ink. So what I will do is distress ink that up before I obviously pop the sewing pattern on and things. So I'm just going to ink around the edges like that. Now obviously I haven't coffee dyed this book because they are actually vintage books anyway, so you know, they've got a bit of discoloration on them anyway. So, and this is just vintage photo I'm just using to ink around. I'm not the best inker in the world either. Some people seem to get it very neatly and literally just at the edges. I don't seem to be able to do that. I don't know whether it's because I'm going too quick or I don't know. But when I do put it just around the edges, I also then feel like it doesn't make enough of an impact. So I quite like it when it's kind of a little bit more all over the page, if you know what I mean, all over the paper. So that's that. I think that looks really nice. And then I'm just going to take my ruffled up sewing pattern and literally I'm just going to glue that down. So I will probably just, let me just check. Very hard to see because trying to obviously keep kind of in frame. So I'm just going to literally pop the glue directly onto the pocket here. And I did have somebody, Laura, ask, so hi Laura, which glue that I use. It's this one, Anita's Tacky PVA glue. Really like this glue. It's got this fine nib, you know, and it's really good glue. It seems to hold really well and it dries reasonably quickly. The only thing is, obviously, as soon as you open it, it dries out very quickly. So you either are constantly having to poke it with a needle or a pokey tool or something, or keeping the lid on, and I'm not great at not losing the lids. So, so that's that. Anyway, that's the glue. Oops, and then I'm just going to stick my paper ruffle down the side there. So I think that looks really nice. And then I'm just going to pop a flower on here because I think that just kind of adds a little bit more to that little pocket. So I've got this one, which was obviously the first one of the flowers with the green from the leaves, or obviously I could use one from further down which hasn't got any green on it. I mean, I'm sure again it probably doesn't make much difference, but I'm going to go for probably just that one there. So I should just stick a bit of glue on the back there and then just pop it down like that. And then if kind of I wanted anything else, kind of more detail on there, I could always kind of staple it on or pop something in the middle. Again, I did bring along some flat back pearls and things, so I mean I could put something like that in the middle here. So let me just try one of those. These are those pearls that I like, but these are a smaller size. I love the big ones for my fabric flowers. These are 6mm ones. So that's those. Unfortunately, they're all stuck all over the packaging. They didn't seem to stay on the plastic. That's how I bought them. That was not, since I've had them, that was how they came. But again, I think I mentioned before, I do always kind of glue them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to, oops, see how that looks with a pearl in the centre. So take it away, pop it back. yeah, I quite like that with a pearl in the centre. So I'm just going to glue that in. And again, I will use my just the tacky glue to stick that in there. So just pop a little bit on here. Actually, I've just remembered what I was going to say. When I went to say about, I checked over my tutorial, I could not believe how much my hands shake. I mean, that could account for why I'm so clumsy. Always have done. I don't know why, but I don't think they're kind of getting worse as I'm getting older. I think they just always have done. And probably doesn't really help when I'm doing the videos, because obviously I'm feeling quite, you know, kind of nervous. So there's that. So, I mean, obviously, aside from the bits that I had done kind of out of time, so obviously the fussy cutting this, the stitching of the sewing pattern, and obviously the stitching around the actual book, that kind of, you know, has all been done kind of here. So pretty simple, really. And I've just left some threads hanging as well, which obviously, you know, you could cut them off or not, whoever kind of gets the kit. So that's the first item. I'll pull the journal back in, the blank journal, and kind of show you now how that would look. So if that was popped on a page, it would look like that. I would probably glue it either just down 2 sides and pop it in, or obviously you could glue it on 3 sides and stick it in like that. So that's the first item. So I'm going to leave that kind of to one side to dry. So I'll just pop it out of frame there. So second item here, similar thing, I have just made a smaller kind of book stack. So this one, actually, I must have layered up a few more layers of page, so you know, it feels quite a bit heavier and thicker. That doesn't worry me. Obviously, if it worried the person who actually purchases the kit, they could always probably peel off a layer or 2 of the pages. So that's that. I have fussy cut out again from the book this rather nice image of this young girl, Jane, and I'm going to pop her on here. Now, what I brought along as well, don't know whether this would look good or not, but I thought I'd bring it. I did the nursery rhyme album, and I used my daughter's little dress that she had. So this is kind of what remains of her dress. I've got loads of the net that was underneath her dress, which I will use kind of in future times. It seems to have paint now on it, but I will use that for other things. And then at the top of the dress, there's not that much left, but I've just got this section here. So I'm just going to cut, literally, it was just around kind of where the armholes were. Just cut a section of that, like so. And there's some rather cute buttons there that obviously I can use kind of another time, or maybe I might even use them in a minute on a flower. So I can just cut that like that. So waste not, want not. I should have probably ironed the dress before actually coming to do this video, but never mind. I just had in mind that I thought that possibly I could layer this image up onto the dress. I think looks rather cute, and I just thought would kind of look good on there. So, and again, I've got kind of flower I could pop on there as well. So what I will probably start with doing is actually glue her onto the dress, but what I might do is actually distress ink around her first. So again, I just get my distress ink, because obviously I fussy cut her, but there's quite a bit of the kind of original book colour showing. So I'll just, oops, ink her like that. There we go. And then I shall glue her onto the fabric. And again, I have found this this glue to be really excellent. It seems to glue fabric pretty well, you know, glue onto fabric, glue fabric to paper, glue fabric to fabric, all pretty well. So that's all that I'm using here. Again, just the tacky glue, so I must remember to put the lid on so I don't have the glue dry up. And I'm just going to stretch the fabric out because I haven't ironed it. So I'm just going to pop her on there like that. And then what I could do is on the back, where if I put that card, just get my card and just kind of spread that out like that. To make sure she's really well stuck down onto there. Like that. And then what I will do is just cut around, literally no exact way or shape or anything else, just kind of roughly cut around her like that. I might just get rid of these couple of bits that are just annoying me because it hasn't been ironed. So I just cut around those like that. That's it. There we go. Now I think she looks rather cute there on that spotty fabric. I think I've said before how much I love spots. So now what I'm going to do is, before I stick her anywhere, I'm going to actually distress ink up the stack of pages. And obviously I've tried to pick text pages so that they haven't got any pictures, you know, kind of getting in the way and obstructing what I'm actually sticking onto them. So these are just plain text pages that I'm using. And they're obviously just the pages that I was not really thinking that I was going to be using for anything else. So that's that. And then I'm going to pop her probably there, or possibly actually I quite like her on that side. Now, I've also brought along a few other things. So I've got here some other trim that I did with this really beautiful, this was a bunch of fat quarters that I bought, which again, I've done some ruffles on the sewing machine. And I just thought maybe that would go quite nicely. Obviously she's got the green in the chair, and obviously the red tones quite nicely with this kind of pinky red of the flowers. So I thought that would maybe look quite fun. So I'm just kind of placing it here, just playing around. Not going to glue anything down until I'm kind of sure. So there's that. I've brought along as well some other paper flowers, which are in nice kind of colours. This was just a pack of paper flowers, paper blossoms that I had. So I can just kind of check whether any of those might look quite nice. These are quite large, so I might find that they're a bit too big, but I mean, they look fab against that ruffle. And actually that orange one, I can't help but think goes really nicely. I think that's two there. So I mean, I could kind of have like a whole cluster of flowers. I love how that looks. I don't know what anyone else thinks. But I kind of, yeah, feel very drawn to that. And then what I'm going to do, actually, I just bring the dress back and I'm just going to cut one of those buttons off. And just see whether one of those buttons would look quite nice inside one of those flowers in the centre. This is the type of thing that, you know, makes you think you should prepare more before you come doing your video, because I'm sure that none of you really want to see me trying to get the stitching out of the button, which now is well and truly stitched in. So I'm just trying to get that out. I would just glue it on anyway, but obviously it's quite lumpy and it would kind of not then go flat. So I do kind of need to get it off really. And I'm sure my clumsy way of doing it, you're probably all sat thinking, oh my gosh, why doesn't she do it in this way or that way? Because you've probably all got a really great method of doing things, but I just kind of muddle along in my own my own clumsy way of doing things. So let me try and get this out. You'll probably all be you know, these will probably, instead of going into a genre of crafting know-how or crafting tutorials and process videos, they're probably going to the comedy sketches of how not to do your crafting. I still can't actually get that out, which is very frustrating, and really you must be all getting bored now of watching me fuss around, and especially because I don't even think I was actually in frame while I was trying to do that. Come on. And this is where I could probably have done with some smaller scissors as well, but I always use these giant scissors. I really love them. They're just those packs from IKEA. You get like the pack of 3 scissors. They're like in the kitchen bit, you know, in the marketplace. And I love that big pair and use them all the time. Can't seem to get on now with any other scissors. So every time that we go to IKEA, not that we go there that often, but you know, whenever we do, I just buy like another few packets or another few, you know, sets of the scissors, because I just really love these huge ones. Well, I still can't manage to get that out, which is pretty frustrating, so I'm not going to bore you anymore. I just wanted to see how that would look in a flower. I think that looks really lovely. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue the girl down, glue Jane down. So get my glue, oops. Now, I can go to the edges of the fabric so she's not kind of, you know, so the fabric isn't coming up too much. And then I'm just going to kind of glue her down like that. And again, I'll get my card and just kind of go over that a little bit, just to make sure she's really stuck down without any lumps and bumps. So that's her. And then what I'm going to do is stick my ruffle down. Now, because this one is fabric, and I have used the tacky glue for this, but I've also brought along my glue gun, which I used in my tutorial. And again, actually, Laura commented on my glue gun and said about the pointy nozzle. Now, I started out with a different glue gun with quite a fat nozzle, and I wasn't that keen on it, because obviously to get quite precise, you know, especially when you're clumsy, was pretty tricky with such a fat nozzle. So you can get them, I think, with really fine nozzles, but they're really expensive. So this was kind of, you know, the best nozzle I could get for my budget. And it's just a Bosch one, as you can see, pretty mucky. But I think it's my 3rd one. They seem to have a shelf life of about a year, but I super love it. And you know, I don't necessarily use it for everything, but whenever I'm crafting, I always have it switched on, because you know, it just is very handy, and particularly if you want to do things quite quickly and then dry quite quickly. So just going to run a little bit of glue just here down the side of here, and then stick my fabric ruffle on there with the hot glue, because that's nice and fast then, and it's done. Now I can just cut that off with the scissors. There we go. Now I'm loving how that looks. Think it looks really super cute. So my little cluster of flowers, I don't want to actually cover up the picture, so I have to be a little bit more precise in how I pop them on, but really I think they look pretty cute. So I might have one on the fabric, which actually I could just staple that on. I don't want them looking like they're in a line. Or I could have that one up there. Or I guess I could have that one over there. In fact, what I could do is kind of layer it up like that. Oops. I've now got threads of glue obviously on my hands, which now are kind of getting the flowers caught up in there. Now I quite like that, and I could just pop that little red flower in the centre. or indeed I could put it in the centre of the green one. Actually looks quite striking in the green. So what I'll do, again, just for kind of speed, I'm going to use my glue gun rather than the tacky glue. I'm going to just pop some glue there and stick that down like that. And then I'm going to layer it with the pink flower. Pop that in there like that. And then this green one, just going to have down there. So the green one, I'll just stick that on with just the tacky glue. The large one obviously was going kind of across fabric and the paper, so I just thought kind of the glue gun would be a bit better for doing that. So that's that. And then, although I didn't manage to get that thread out completely, it is quite flat now at the back. So I'm going to again take my hot glue and just pop a little bit of glue on there. I'm just going to stick that, I said actually on the green one, didn't I? Stick that in the green one like that. I think that looks super cute. And I mean, actually I could have another one. I'll try not to bore you and make you sit through watching me trying to cut the thread out. So see if I can get any closer to this one to pop that off. I mean, the funny thing is buttons come off all the time, don't they? And then you have to sew them back on. But because I actually wanted it to come off, it was really stuck fast, or stitched fast. And I think that one is the same. Anyway, no, it's not. I have managed to get in closer, so that's better. Right. I'm just waffling along to myself, so sorry about this. So I could have that one there. I don't know whether that's overkill to have 2 buttons. Let me take it away, put it back. I'm not sure. Not sure. And this bit of fabric's annoying me a little bit, so I'm just going to stick that down. Just put a bit of glue there. On bending up, which was I was finding that a bit annoying. What does everyone else think? I wish I was live now and I could ask you all, do you think with the button or without the button? Because I can't decide. I kind of think maybe without it, because I think maybe it's too much with, what do you reckon? Although it needs something to break the flower up. No, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to have that in there. So again, decisions. I'm just going to pop that in there like that. There we go. So that's my second little cute item from the book. So we now got 2 little pockets for the kit. And again, I should just bring the journal back and just show you. So I'll move that first one out of the way and just show you again how this would look on the page. Super cute, I think. Obviously these are not for this journal, so you know, please don't kind of be horrified how it looks on these papers, because this is obviously a totally different journal. But I'm just kind of giving you an idea of how they look. I think they look lovely, like really nice. I'm always drawn to colour, so really like those. So that's those 2. Now I could do another couple of similar ones, because I bought you know, another couple of things with me, or we could make a tag. So perhaps we'll do that. So I'll move these out of the way, and then probably that will be it for this process video, because I'm just looking at the time, it's 33 minutes, and I'm sure that you've probably all got better things to do than be watching this. But anyway, let's stop waffling and get on. So what I did again, before I've come to do the video, I took some of the file folder card and I've just glued it together so it's got double thickness, because otherwise it wasn't particularly thick. And then I've just cut it into a kind of rectangular shape. Again, I don't kind of measure things or anything like that particularly, so it's just, you know, any size will do. And then what I'm going to do is just make it into a tag. So again, saw someone do this, so good tip there. Take your triangle across to the other side, so you kind of get the same you know, corners. So that's my tag. And then obviously I had torn out those book pages. So what we could do is cover the entire tag. And then I've got obviously various images that I have already cut out from the book. Or what we could do is kind of tear up rough bits of text. So I might take some of this rather than the other one. Because if I want to use the other one, I'll still need it complete. And could just kind of have it torn on there, so could even tear it further. Could kind of have that torn on here like that. I think that always looks quite nice, and it's quite nice to have the contrast with different, you know, patterns and colours and things going on. And we could actually put another bit up here. So quite like that. I'm not that keen on this bit, so I might just tear that a bit more like this. So I quite like that, and then just stick that down. And then obviously I have that pile of doilies still, so I could just use some doily. Does the green kind of go with him? Or the red or the blue? Probably the blue, I have to say. Actually, and I did bring some other pictures from those Peter and Jane books, so I will just check whether there are any other better images. So obviously I have this large one which I was intending on using for another pocket, but I could use this for the tag, I guess. Not sure. Let me just see width-wise whether that would fit. So I'd kind of lose that much. That would be okay, wouldn't it? I could, I guess, make 2 tags and have it kind of like this. Let's have a look. Or I've got this one here with this boy, and actually I've got one of the dog's face with a ball in it. So I could have kind of the doily there poking behind, and then the dog kind of coming up like that. That's kind of quite cool. Could have the book page like that. I quite like that. I don't know what everyone else thinks. I also brought along some little Martha Stewart butterflies, because I thought that maybe they would be useful. So I could kind of, we could even have one on his nose. It's blocking out his eye completely, so it's probably a bit too big. There are smaller ones, which I'm not sure whether I've got any of those with me or not. I'll have a look in a second. Yeah, I quite like that. So what I'll do, I will stick this bit down first. So again, just stick over here. Like that. Get my card again. Just spread the glue. Again, very messy person. I should have wipes and tissues, but I haven't, so any excess glue is just getting wiped across my hand. And no wonder I'm constantly having to wash my hands. And I think crafting, it's impossible to have nice hands, isn't it? Because between the coffee staining and the inks and what have you, and paint and now glue, you know, I'm sure having nice manicured hands is kind of not conducive, is it, to crafting? Right, so I could have it like this. So what I might do is, because I am wasting a lot of doily otherwise, I'm going to cut some of that down. Like that. And just see whether I can just glue that on like that. Because that's just being covered up there. That's better, isn't it? Otherwise I'm wasting a lot of that doily. And you know, these things all do cost money, don't they? So don't want to waste things really. So I'll just glue that on like that. Again, just spread that out lightly with the card. And then I should pop this one down here. I hope that I have actually stayed in frame and things for this video, because I'd be mortified if actually I've spent all this time doing this and I'm actually out of frame for most of it. I've not got a very clear view of the iPad. I'm kind of having to you know, look up, and obviously when you're kind of doing things, you're not really kind of that aware of it, are you? So right, so that's that. Again, this is just my way of doing things. I'm not sure that when I watch other people, they have all these bits of paper hanging over. I think other people are much better at kind of measuring and getting it accurate, but I'm not that way inclined. So, you know, mine is looking quite scrappy. So then I'm just going to cut these excesses off from the edges, like that. Move all those scraps to one side. There we go. So that's that. And then obviously I've got my images to go on. So there's those. Or pull this one back again. Would I prefer that one? Again, this is where I wish that kind of I was live and I could be asking everyone what they think. Or, to be fair, I could have those two actually. That might be quite nice, because they're kind of the same theme, aren't they? The dog with the water and the boy with the water. So I might have it more like that. Yeah, I think that looks better. I wonder whether I need another little bit of doily down here, actually. Does that look strange, or does that look better? I think that looks better. So I'm going to glue that bit of doily on here. Like that. Get my card, spread it out across there, like that, and then just going to glue them on like that. So I'm going to have the boy here. Don't know why I keep calling him the boy. I think Peter and Jane, those books are. So I'm going to glue Peter down over here, like that. Again, spread him out, just to check that he's on there nicely. There we go. And then I shall stick the dog down. I'm sure the dog probably has a name too, but I haven't actually looked at the text that much to see what the dog's name is. So I'll pop him down here, right on the edge, like that. So that's that. And I will just cut that excess doily off, like that. Now, what I will do is obviously I will go round the edges and make sure that it's all properly stuck down at the edges, like that, because I don't want them coming up. Just stick that, and check here, and just pop a bit more down here. And then a little bit in the corner. Whoa. And he's coming up a little bit there. So I'll just pop him down. And a bit here in this corner. I'm going to just pop that doily down. I noticed that a lot of people seem to leave their doilies actually quite flapping and loose. I love that look on other people's journals. I personally don't find that works very well for me. They seem to then come up and get torn and damaged, so I prefer them kind of stuck down a little bit more. But I do love that look on other people's. Now, so that's my tag. What I quite like to do on tags to kind of make them have a little bit more dimension is I just go around the edges. This is where you probably need one of those Tim Holtz, you know, like he's got those edge rougher things. I'm not sure what they're called, but I haven't got one of those, so I just use my scissors. That works perfectly fine. It probably blunts them, I would imagine, but you know, as I say, I kind of buy a bunch of them when I go to IKEA, so you know, they last pretty well, even doing this quite frequently. So that's my tag, and it's now got roughed up edges. So now I can go around and distress it. I've also got some little bits and bobs, you know, oh gosh, what do you call them? You know, kind of stamped images that I like to use in my kits. So I could add some stamped images at this point. So I'm just now trying to actually find where they are, having mentioned them. This is where I now can't find them. Right, I will come back to the stamped images in a moment. So let's ink around the edge of the tag. And instantly it's looking better, like just instantly, just from being inked up. It's amazing the difference it makes. Do you see there, the doily just has kind of got torn slightly there, where it wasn't obviously stuck down at that edge. So I don't know how other people kind of manage to have theirs, you know, not really stuck down around the edges and not tearing them all the time. But anyway, not for me. I'm just going to kind of go around the image like that, because I hadn't inked those up before sticking them down. So just to kind of make them pop a little bit and make them look a bit more vintage. So I'm thinking that looks super cute now. And then I can't seem to find my ephemera, my kind of stamped images at the moment. So let me try and get some from my bag here that's beside me. I've got some ready stamped images here, so you'll have to bear with me while I cut a couple of things out. So I have got here, hold on. So sorry if this is a really tedious process. I've got some stamped images here. So I've got a ticket here, so I'm going to try a ticket. You might actually use a couple of tickets, to be honest. So got two different types, so I'm just going to cut this one out. The other thing is the light is really shining right in my eyes, so to get it kind of in the right position for the video, it's actually blinding me now. Right, let's put that out of the way. So I mean, I love using these tickets. Again, these were some crafty individual stamps that I bought recently. So this here is a slightly different ticket, all from those crafty individual stamps. I love their stamps, they're just gorgeous. Really, really, really lovely. There we go, cut those couple of tickets out like that. There we go. I mean, I personally think instantly they look really fab wherever I kind of put them onto that tag. I just love them wherever I put them. I don't know about everyone else, but I really like them kind of wherever they are. And we could always have a little flower too. And actually, I should try going for another button off the dress. Oh gosh, can I get it? Can I get it? Oh. Oh gosh, no, I can't get it. Right, I'm struggling here. The light's kind of blinding me. And trying to kind of be in frame, but not in frame, if you know what I mean. So it's not ideal. Right, let's have a look. Not sure I'm liking that one, because actually there's not really any red here. So put that to one side. I mean, could swap that out for a different colour flower. Actually, the green might look quite nice. Or could have it over here. That looks quite good, doesn't it? So, but maybe not with that button, as that's got the threads, and I don't want to just bore everyone again trying to get the thread out, because gosh, that was time consuming and boring, wasn't it? I did have a yellow butterfly that I popped on that dog's nose earlier, and now I can't seem to see it anywhere. Ah, there it is. So what I could do is pop the yellow butterfly in the centre of the flower. Yep, I like that. So I'm going to stick the tickets on. So I'll just pop one here like that, and then the other one again. Just sorry, I just realised I was not in frame, so gosh, I hope that's not been happening constantly in the video. I do apologise if it has. All I was doing was sticking glue on the back of the ticket. You didn't miss anything exciting, I promise. So let me try and keep in frame this time. Pop a bit of glue on that flower. Whoops. Pop that there. And then this beautiful yellow butterfly. And I just pop that in the centre of the flower. That tag to me looks absolutely super cute. And then what I've done is brought my crocodile along, and again I'll just eyeball this kind of roughly where I think is kind of centre, so kind of here, pop a hole, and then I've got some of those, I don't know why I'm constantly forgetting the name for these, they're like hole reinforcers, and what I've done, this is how they came, kind of in this packet of about 200 or something. And I've literally just, as soon as I bought them, or you know, as soon as I bought them, distress inked an entire page worth. And then obviously when that page finishes, I just distress ink the next one. So I'll just use these ones from the last couple left on that page. So I just pop that there, over the hole. Super, super, super cute. Now, I often don't really bother putting a hole reinforcer on the other side. I don't really kind of think it needs one, but I'll do it here for the purposes of the video. But yeah, I often don't really. So I think that's super cute. I'm not sure quite now what I'm going to use to, you know, thread the tag with. I've got some twine here that looks pretty cute, so I could use the twine. I quite like that. Or I've got some lace, I've got some ribbon, so maybe I'll try some ribbon, or actually I've got some of this kind of green ribbon from what was left from my nature journal that I did, so perhaps I'll try that, or maybe that and the twine. So let's pop that through. I've just literally put the ribbon and the twine together, and then just thread them through the hole like that, and then I could tie them here obviously at the top, so it's kind of like a hangy tag, or could obviously do them in a bow. Let's try in a bow and see how that looks. So this is where I'm obviously looking really cat-candid and really awful. So apologise again for that aspect of my crafting. No, I don't think I've got enough twine there really to do that, so I can't do that. I could just kind of obviously double knot it. That looks kind of quite nice. What do you all think? What do you think? I quite like that. Yeah, I quite like that. So just going to double knot it, kind of going through the other way, so it's not coming undone. Like that. And then I'll just cut that ribbon. Obviously I don't need to cut the twine because that was already quite short. So that's kind of that. So I mean, that I think looks really, really, really cute as it is. Obviously, you know, you could do more to that tag. I did bring some bulb pins along, so I actually could kind of maybe, let me just find one. I could thread something onto a bulb pin and kind of thread that through. Maybe I thread the button on. I mean, obviously the button's red, and we did say the red wasn't that great on this tag, didn't we? But you know, could just kind of have that hanging there. I'm still not loving the red, I have to say, but I'm not sure what else I've got. I did have some blue flowers actually, so just hold on for a second and bear with me. I'll just get a blue flower. So I've got these teeny ones, which again, they were mulberry flowers, and I did exactly the same thing, where I kind of peeled the layers apart. Or I have got these slightly larger ones, which I'm quite liking, or I could layer the two. Let's try that. So I'm going to take that red button back off, and then just pop that through there. Oh, come on. And then through the other one, because they obviously already have holes in the centres. And then if I just kind of hook that on there, or I could even have threaded it through the knot, but I'll just put it through there for the moment. Oh, come on. Again, I can't really see because the light's just glaring in my eyes. I mean, I think that looks very cute with those little flowers there on the bulk pin. So, but again, obviously, whoever buys the kit, if you didn't like that, you can just take them off. If you didn't like the twine and the ribbon, you can change it to something that you do like. So that's the tag. So I'm looking now, hold on, we're at 55 minutes. So I think I've probably exhausted kind of myself now, kind of with talking, and I need a cup of tea now. But that's 3 items kind of towards a little kit that I'm going to be making, that will be for sale when I kind of finish the other elements. Yeah, so I hope that you weren't too bored. Hope my process video was okay. I'm sure you found it a bit scatty, you know, in places, and you know, but I hope that you managed to kind of keep along and not find it too confusing and things when I was then going off at a tangent or looking for things. Yeah, I'm really pleased with these 3 items. I think they're really, 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 really cute. So yeah, I hope that you liked it, and thanks ever so much for watching. I'm going to try and do another couple of videos later today. I've got a journal that I just literally have got a couple of things left to do on it, and then it'll be finished. And I've also got a couple of kits ready that I'm also hoping to kind of put on today. So we'll see if time allows. Hope that you enjoyed the video, and hope I didn't kind of just, you know, leave you in a kind of complete fog of confusion with, you know, scatty behaviour. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching, and please give me a thumbs up if you did like it, and thanks ever so much for all your comments and things. Yeah, have a great day. Thanks a lot then. Bye.